In the heart of a bustling Nigerian city, young Osinachi's world shattered like broken glass. At a tender age of 9, a motor accident stole her parents from her, leaving her orphaned and scarred for life. The crash not only claimed her parents but also left Osinachi physically wounded, robbing her of the ability to bear children, a painful twist of fate that would haunt her for years to come. With no relatives to care for her, Osinachi pushed into the unforgiving streets. She became a lost soul, wandering through a narrow street and marketplaces, scavenging for scraps of food to survive. Weeks turned into months and months turned to years. It later dawned on Osinachi that she would never see her parents again. But amidst the hardship, Osinachi held the memory of her parents, their laughter and warmth. She held into their love like a lifeline. Their absence weighed heavy on her young heart, a reminder of all she had lost and her dreams left unfulfilled. Days blurred in night filled with hunger, fear, and the constant ache of loneliness. One day Osinachi met a young man named Daniel. She begged him for food. Daniel offered her food and told her to come back for dinner. She had no other alternative. She went, and this time, Daniel laced a sleeping pill inside her drink. Osinachi drank and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, Osinachi woke up shocked to her bones, to find herself without her clothes on Daniel's bed. She felt a wave of nausea wash over. As she slowly sat up from the bed, she thought she was dreaming, but panic sets in as she realized she was not wearing any clothes. She looked around in confusion as she spotted Daniel sleeping soundly beside her. Terror gripped over her as she realized she had no memory on how she ended up on Daniel's bed, and she let out a loud scream. Daniel stared and opened his eyes. Osinachi shouted in anger, "Daniel, what have you done to me? Daniel, what are you talking about? We both enjoyed what happened last night. You were quite enthusiastic, and I do say so to myself," Daniel said. Osinachi's eyes widened in horror. "No, is not possible. You took advantage of me," she yelled. Daniel chuckled dryly. "Took advantage of you? Please let not play the innocent victim here. You used what you have and got what you want," Daniel said. Tears streamed Osinachi's face as she started crying and cursing Daniel. Daniel immediately ordered her to dress up and leave his house at that late hour of the night. She blamed death for snatching her parents away. Daniel opened his door. It was raining heavily and he pushed her out into the rain. As Osinachi sat beside the road, 3 hefty men saw her and stopped their car. They approached Osinachi thinking they would be good Samaritans, asked them to help her, but they laughed and said to themselves, "This is a good meat." They tore Osinachi's clothes, raped her one after the other, tied her up and carried her for money ritual. She was screaming for help, but nobody heard her voice as it was raining. After Osinachi was carried into the butchering room, the hefty men placed her and other girls that were there before Osinachi on 4 different butchering tables inside the room. They were pleading for mercy. Then one of the hefty men said to them, "Who will die first?" He started laughing. Osinachi wanted to scream, then the man covered their mouth. He started killing the other girls that were there before Osinachi. "I will go with this one first. She's the ugliest among them," he said, pointing at one of them. He took the girl and killed her. This sent a big shock to Osinachi and the remaining girls. Osinachi started praying silently. She was begging God to accept her soul. "Who's next?" the hefty man said again. He came closer to Osinachi. "No, I will reserve this one for the last. At least your pretty face has saved you to be the last." Then he went closer to the girl lying closely to Osinachi. They continued until it was Osinachi's turn. Right there before Osinachi's eyes, she saw other girls' head rolling down. Then she started screaming on top of her voice. I saved the best for the last. He looked at Osanachi. Their leader commanded them to bring Osanachi to him. They took Osanachi to him. Fine girl, you are so beautiful. I will preserve you, but I will taste you. Osanachi cried bitterly. That night was a bad night for Osanachi. Send her back, she is not destined to die today, the leader said. All this while, Osanachi was already weak from all the trauma that has befallen her. You are very lucky, one of the hefty men said as they forced sleeping pill in her mouth. Then they carried her, dumped her by the roadside. As Osanachi was lying lifeless beside the road. Street dwellers saw her and carried her to hospital. The doctor examined her and disclosed to Osanachi that the incident cost her a damaged womb. Osanachi cried. Her good Samaritans consoled her. They paid the hospital bill and sheltered Osanachi. After some days, they started complaining about carrying Osanachi responsibilities. They convinced her to join them in prostitution. Due to frustration, Osanachi decided to join them. Her innocence faded away as she learned the harsh realities of life among her peers. As she grew older, Osanachi's once bright eyes dulled with resignation. She found herself caught in a cycle of survival, doing whatever it took to endure another day. Her days became a blur of odd jobs and fleeting moments of kindness from strangers who saw past her tattered clothes to the spirit within. Yet, in the bottom of no hope, a flashing of bad luck burned within Osanachi. She refused to give up to bitterness or despair. Instead, she found solace in small acts of kindness and her group of fellow street dwellers, who became her family. Together, they faced the storms of life with a shared strength born of necessity. But beneath the surface, Osanachi carried a burden that threatened to consume her knowledge that she could never fulfill the traditional role as of a wife and a mother. It was a wound that cut deeper than any physical pain, a constant reminder of her shattered dreams and the unfairness of life's cruel hand. Yet, despite it all, Osanachi refused to let go of her faith. She prayed silently for guidance and strength, believing that someday, somehow, her life would find purpose and meaning beyond the hardships she endured. Little did she know, fate had already set in motion a series of events that would challenge her spirit and test her strength in ways she could never have imagined. One afternoon, as Osanachi sat by a busy roadside, a kind-hearted man named Emika noticed her. Unlike others who passed by with indifference or disdain, Emika saw beyond her ragged appearance. He saw a spark in her eyes, a resilience that spoke of untold struggles. Emika approached Osanachi. They spoke for hours, and Osanachi cautiously shared fragments of her shattered life. Emika listened intently, his heart stirred by her courage and determination to survive against all odds. As days turned into weeks, Emika continued to seek out Osanachi. He brought her food, clothing, and most importantly, companionship. He saw beyond the scars of her past, recognizing the strength and beauty within her. Slowly, Osanachi began to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. Their bond deepened with each passing day. Emika shared stories of his own struggles and dreams, creating a space where Osanachi felt safe to hope again. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine a life beyond the streets, a life filled with love, stability, and purpose. Emika's kindness was a balm to Osanachi's wounded soul. He offered her a lifeline, a chance at a new beginning through marriage. Overwhelmed by gratitude and desperate for stability, Osanachi accepted without revealing the haunting secret of her infertility. For a fleeting moment, happiness seemed within reach. Their wedding day was a joyous affair, a celebration of newfound love and hope. Surrounded by friends and well-wishers, she dared to believe that her past hardships were finally behind her. But beneath the surface, Osanachi carried a heavy burden. She knew that the truth about her inability to bear children could shatter the happiness she had found with Emeka, yet, in the warmth of his embrace, she dared to hope for a future free from pain and loneliness. As they exchanged vows, Osinachi made a silent promise to herself to cherish Emeka and their newfound happiness with all her heart. Little did she know, their journey together was about to take an unexpected turn, testing their love and resilience in ways neither of them could have foreseen. The early days of Osinachi and Emeka's marriage were filled with a joy of newfound love. But as time passed, Emeka's once tender words occasionally changed with impatience. He harbored unspoken expectations that Osinachi unknowingly failed to meet. Each month that passed without news of a pregnancy deepened his silent frustration. One evening, as they sat together, Emeka expressed his longing for a child, with a heavy heart unaware of the impossibility that lay hidden below Osinachi's smile. Unbeknownst to Osinachi, an old acquaintance from Osinachi's days on the streets had recognized Emeka as Osinachi's husband. Fueled by jealousy and spite, the acquaintance sought to inflict pain upon Osinachi by revealing Osinachi's secret to Emeka. Emeka confronted Osinachi with anger, pain, and accusations of deceit. Osinachi stood before him. "Please, before you judge me, hear my story," Osinachi said in tears. Emeka brought her luggages out. "Flee from me, you empty harlot," Emeka said in anger. Osinachi cried bitterly. But in everything she is still blaming death for snatching her parents from her. The streets that had once been her refuge now felt like a prison of loneliness. She longed for the warmth of Emeka's embrace, the reassurance of his love that had vanished. Her few loyal friends gathered around her, offering words of comfort and gestures of kindness. Yet, their well-meaning efforts could not fill the void left by Emeka's absence. In moments of solitude, Osinachi replayed the events that had led to her downfall. She blamed herself for not revealing the truth about her infertility sooner, convinced that honesty might have spared her the heartache of losing Emeka. She sought refuge in prayers whispered fervently into the stillness of night, seeking guidance and solace from a higher power, who saw beyond her flaws and failures. Weeks turned into months, and Osinachi gradually found moments of peace amidst the storm that raged within her. Meanwhile, Emeka's attempt to find a new was unsuccessful. Despite his efforts to fill the void left by Osinachi, none could compare to the depth of love and understanding he had once shared with her. Memories of their shared moments haunted him, a constant reminder of the woman he had wronged and the love he had lost, hoping for a second chance to make amends. Little did he know, fate was about to intervene in unexpected ways, guiding him back to the woman who had captured his heart. Weeks passed. Emeka's regret grew each passing day. He realized the depth of his mistake and how much he missed Osinachi's laughter, her gentle words, and her comforting presence. He couldn't bear the emptiness that filled their home without her. Driven by remorse and a deep longing to make things right, Emeka set out to find Osinachi. He searched the streets and neighboring towns, asking everyone he met if they had seen his wife. But no one had any news of her whereabouts. Just when Emeka was about to lose hope, a kind-hearted lady from his neighboring compound called him that she had seen Osinachi walking inside a salon. Emeka's heart leaped with joy and relief. He thanked the young lady profusely and hurried off in the salon. He found her in the salon. Tears filled Emeka's eyes as he approached her, his heart bursting with apologies and love. Osinachi looked up, surprised to see Emeka standing before her. At first, she was hesitant, unsure if she could trust his remorse. But as Emeka spoke from his heart, expressing his regret and promising to never hurt her again, Osinachi saw the sincerity in his eyes. Osinachi allowed Emeka back into her life. Emeka vowed to cherish her always, to never let anger cloud his judgment again. In that moment, he saw Osanachi not just as a woman he had once loved, but as a beacon of hope and forgiveness. Emika and Osanachi lived happily ever after, their bond stronger than ever before. And miraculously, God blessed them with twins, a boy and a girl. Their arrival was a testament to the miracles that awaited those who dared to hope and believe in the power of second chances. As their family grew, Osanachi continued to weave tales of hope and redemption, offering inspiration to others who faced similar trials. And in the quiet moments of their shared life, Osanachi and Emika found peace in the knowledge that their love story, though marked by trials and tribulations, had ultimately led them to a place of healing and renewal. Together, they embraced the promise of tomorrow, guided by faith and a profound gratitude for the blessings that had transformed their lives.